welcome to another Table Talk. I'm your host, Karen Wilson, and today I have a great show for you lined up. Our guest is Mr. Rob Moreland from the Friends of the South Cumberland State Park. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you. Glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. This is so interesting. We've been having a little chit-chat beforehand, but let's talk about this wonderful gym, I guess, that's located in Grundy County, the South Cumberland State Park. You know, tell us a little bit about the park.
Well, South Cumberland State Park is the largest state park in the state of Tennessee. It's approximately 31,000 acres, but it's kind of a misnomer to say it's in Grundy County.
Okay.
Most of the park is in Grundy County, and the visitor center and headquarters is in Grundy County. But the park is actually in 4 counties: Marion, Franklin, Sequatchie, and Grundy.
Okay.
So it's kind of unique to the state of Tennessee and probably to a lot of other state parks in that it is not one contiguous 31,000 acres. It's about 9 or 10 sites in 4 counties.
Okay.
And they vary from about a 2-acre site, the Natural Bridge outside of Swanee, to 18,000 acres for Savage Gulf, which is not too far from McMinnville. You can get to the Stone Door, which is on the west side of the Savage Gulf.
Yes,
So,
very popular little day hike there that a lot of people go to.
It's very popular for people out of this side of the plateau and people out of the Chattanooga side of the plateau because they can come around by Whitwell and Dunlap and be up on the plateau.
It's beautiful up there for sure. Beautiful lookouts and so much more too. So there's lots of famous trails located in the park. Tell us about those trails that have been there for years and then the new trail that's going to be opening up.
Yeah, there are a great deal of trails. To try to pick the ones that people know is kind of hard because if you go up there any length of time at all, you learn the trails. They're from easy to strenuous. The best way for people to find out is to go on the state park website, check South Cumberland State Park, and then they'll have a list of them and a description. But some of the ones people probably most know about are Stone Door, the trail to Sawmill, which there was a sawmill down in the bottom of Savage Gulf run by the Savage family, which is of course where the Gulf gets its name. Alum Gap and around to Laurel Falls walks on the rim on the west side. And then you've got Collins Gulf out of Grootley Logger. And you go around on Highway 399, just after you cross into Sequatchie County, you find the East Ranger Station, the Savage Gulf Ranger Station. There's a couple of trails there. Rattlesnake Point is a loop. Savage Falls has a couple of swinging bridges to go across, and there's some on the rim there. You can walk from the Savage Gulf Ranger Station to the Stone Door Ranger Station. It's about 18.5 miles. Some of it is somewhat strenuous. A lot of people do it by camping at Sawmill and then going on.
I think too about the first time I visited the Fiery Gizzard, which is just outside of Tracy City, and was so amazed at how folks around here travel to Gatlinburg and to East Tennessee. But it amazed me how similar it was, the beautiful water and the waterfalls and all the flora that was around. It was like going back to another time.
Yeah, it is. That area was preserved. The Grundy Forest Loop is another trail that goes by the 2 Fiery Gizzards, the big Fiery Gizzard and the little Fiery Gizzard. They join together and flow down through what's called the Fiery Grundy Forest. So, and the new one you ask about is just off of the Grundy Forest Loop, about 4/10 of a mile in. For people who used to camp in that area, it was the site of the CCC campground. there were 4 or 5 campsites there in the state park. And that was the site of Company 1475 of the Civilian Conservation Corps back in 1935 through 38. And we are turning that into an educational venue. There are 13 interpretive signs scattered throughout the site. It's about 2/10 of a mile trail that show the old campground. There's not anything there because they were building portable buildings. So when they moved it to Swanee in 1938, all the buildings got moved except for some concrete pads. But we've done a lot of research on the site and finally figured out from some photos we borrowed from some people whose relatives were members of the camp where things were located, and we could make these signs up. So that's going to open with the dedication April 12th, and we'll do hikes there Saturday and Sunday the 13th and 14th.
Okay, we're going to get into talking about that.
All
That's
right.
the Trails and Trilliums Festival you're referring to. Let's talk real quick too about the group that helps the park, this wonderful group that puts on the Trails and Trilliums. What is the mission of the Friends of the South Cumberland, and where does their fundraising efforts go?
Well, in plain language, our mission is to help the park management and staff fulfill their objection of opening the park to the citizens of Tennessee. And part of our mission also is to educate people and hopefully inspire them to protect the natural resource and to enjoy the park. So that's kind of our mission, and our money that we raise goes towards education. We do a 4th and 5th grade program. They have a hike. The 4th graders come to the visitor center and they get a journal that's programmed along with their curriculum in school, and they have animals, geology, wildflowers, all sorts of activities for the whole day. So that's done with the 4th graders. 5th graders take a hike. We also help with land acquisition to help protect the park. There's a lot of cases where the trails are going through private land, and so we're trying to purchase that land for the future, to keep development from encroaching upon the Gulf. It would be a wonderful place to build your house and to be able to sit on the porch and have your coffee in the morning looking out at the Gulf, but all of us need to be able to enjoy it.
Right, right.
So that's some of the things we do with it.
Well, if you think about the land acquisition, that's something that takes a lot of coordination, the fundraising efforts and things like that, because the state just doesn't hand out money for that.
No, it does not. And in fact, some of those efforts are done with the Friends, the Sierra Club, and some of the other groups like that.
So this is the 16th year of the Trails and Trilliums Festival. This has been going on a long time. Give us some background information on how it got started.
I've been associated with it for about 10 years, so I can imagine that it started very slow, and I know in the 10 years I've been involved, there have been different activities added every year. Some things subtracted if they didn't work too well, but mostly things have been added. Additional hikes, workshops, talks. They brought in speakers from outside. Most of them authors or very prominent in their field will come to speak. Last year, a big push was put on to add children's activities. Unfortunately, it stormed and rained, but there was still a lot of kids showed up and had a good time.
Yeah, I saw pictures, lots of kids having fun. And as I printed off all of the things that are going on, there was an abundance of things for kids to do and learn about. So don't have any fear, of bringing your kids and them being bored. It's not going to happen up there.
And there are some of the hikes that are easy, flat level areas that,
For the younger kids. And,
you could get a kid out into nature. There are some of the hikes that are strenuous and may not be suitable for children.
So let's get into some of the specifics of the festivities going on. You'd mentioned hikes, and there's, it looks like maybe 5 to even 6 or 7 different ones that go on at different times of the day throughout the festival. And then you've got, what are some of the other activities if you're not able to hike?
There are some workshops that are scheduled. There's 4 or 5 of them up, and then there are some talks, birding, birds in your backyard, that type of thing.
Yes, I noticed a journaling class on journaling while...
That's become a big thing now in doing journaling, and so nature journaling
Yes.
takes a little bit different twist of the journaling. There are 2 evening events, Friday night and Saturday night. Wine and Wildflowers on Friday night, and on Saturday night, the Friends have hooked up with the Mountain Goat Trail Alliance. They're doing the trail for hiking, biking, that follows the railroad bed that came from Cowan up the plateau at Swanee and across the plateau for the coal mining. So the railroad bed is being turned into a paved hiking area.
Okay, and that's ongoing efforts to
Yeah,
get that done.
they have now reached Tracy City.
Okay.
Oh.
And I know that, right, it started maybe in the Monteagle area. Am I correct about that?
They started down towards Cowan
Okay.
and came up to Swanee, and then it extended to Monteagle, and now Monteagle towards Tracy City.
Okay.
And eventually will continue on. So
Good, good.
that's called the, I think the
Mountain
Hoot
Goat
Nanny.
Yes, the Hoot Nanny is the...
on Saturday night.
Yes,
so.
that's right. So I know, when I read on the website that it's better to sign up ahead of time as far as limited spots on the hikes and in the activities. Where can people go to sign up?
If you go to a website, trailsandtrilliums.org. It's all one word, trailsandtrilliums.org. You can see everything that's going to be offered, complete schedule, times, plan what you want to do for a workshop versus when you want to go to a hike. The hikes are limited to 12, and so it's very important to sign up. Some will be done multiple times. Like I'm doing the CCC tour because that's brand new 6 times, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. But some of the hikes may only be offered 1 time.
Right.
So you really kind of need to plan a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed, which I don't know if I would catch this one, but it was a snakes and salamanders hike. But that one was quite lengthy.
Yeah, that one's on Friday, and it's like a 5-hour hike. You need to bring plenty of water and
Good shoes.
and food to eat. And that there are several of the hikes. All of the hikes are led. They are all led by experts in their field, such as Professor Potter, Dr. Potter, who is the geology professor at Swanee, will do the geology hike.
I noticed Mary Priestley's name
Mary
on
Priestley
there.
is there. She has written a couple of books, and she's going to talk about her latest book she has done.
She's been a guest on our show.
Wildflowers in Color, I think
Yes,
is the
yes.
title of it. There's a professor from MTSU. I did the research on the CCC camp, so I'm doing one of those. There are Tennessee Naturalists, which is another program the Friends sponsor. We are volunteers with the state to do naturalist work and work with the park rangers at South Cumberland or other places. So they will be leading some of them. There's an expert in birding that's going to be leading the bird watch hike.
And the hikes, is that portion of it free? Or is there a small fee?
There is a small fee for the hikes. And this is our primary fundraiser.
Right.
So that's why there are charges for things, except for the children's activities.
And then I noticed at night the activities there, possibly around $25 a piece, but you've got your, you know, the wine and the cheese and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a social event.
And the hootenanny, there's entertainment, and the same thing, there's finger foods that are there. So not everything is a profit, but it is our major fundraiser.
Right, right. We have to keep that
For
in
the
mind.
for the year.
Yes.
And the Friends of South Cumberland are a 501c3 nonprofit. So everybody works for free. We're all volunteers.
Yes, it takes it, I'm sure, to maintain that much land and to keep those types of fundraisers going. So let's see, some of the workshops, we'll hit on those really quick just because not everybody is able to do the hiking. I noticed a watercolor workshop, and what are some of the others?
Well, the 4 workshops, there's a one on watercoloring of a wreath. That would be small, that you use on
Postcard.
thank you note, invitation. All the supplies are going to be given to you, and you will actually walk out of there with your own version of a colored wreath.
Right, and it's going to real nature focused, I guess.
Yeah, it is a nature wreath that you're going to do. Another workshop is on the backyard birding. There will be a gentleman speaking on that, and there'll be a workshop. In fact, one of the hikes is on photographing in nature.
I
So-
noticed that, yeah, so
so,
that would be a good one to sign up for ahead of time, because I'm sure that one's going to probably get filled up pretty quickly. As I printed this off, there was like 9 pages of things to go through.
Well, that's why I recommend that people go to the trails and trilliums.org, and then they can see that, and they can see what's happening Thursday afternoon, which is not the bulk of it. The bulk of it will be Saturday, and then there'll be some things on Sunday, primarily hikes. But they can see and kind of plan out, well, I want to do this, but there's a hike at the same time. Keep looking, you might find the hike is going to be later.
Right,
And you could,
okay.
And you could do it that afternoon.
Right, this is one of those things you almost have to plan out your day.
Correct.
Because there's multiple
Yeah.
things going on, and if you miss it in the morning, you could catch it again in the afternoon.
Everything is based at the Du Bois Conference Center in Monteagle.
Okay.
So all the workshops, all the talks are there. The hikes will meet there and then follow the hike leader or carpool out to the trailhead to do the hikes. Everything is there except the children's activities.
Okay.
And that'll be at the Visitor Center, which is on 41 South, out of Monteagle.
Okay, is that the road that connects Monteagle to Tracy City?
Correct.
The visitor center
Yeah.
there, okay.
It makes a hard left turn there in Monteagle in order to go to Tracy City and down to towards Jasper.
Yes, and this is a rain or shine event, would not be
Rain or shine.
rescheduled.
Right.
So, yes. And cold weather, you never can tell, but usually
No.
in April it's pretty
You have to
warm.
dress appropriately. But one thing I want to talk about very quickly is the children's activities.
Yes,
That'll be at the Visitor Center. And of course, you've got the Visitor Center, which is a very interactive, kid-friendly event. In fact, there are signs up that say, please touch.
That's
And
unusual.
behind the Visitor Center, there'll be a zip line, there'll be a ropes course, pioneer reenactments. They're going to open the new nature play area where a kid can use their imagination to do what they want to. There's a lady will be there with animals, then they're all friendly. They're both farm animals and some from nature. She is a wildlife rehabilitator. So there's no telling what she might have. I have done programs with her at schools, and she said baby possums, baby squirrels, baby raccoons. But she has a couple of snakes. They are perfectly friendly. They've been handled so much they probably wait to be handled.
They think they're pets, don't they?
Turtles, just all sorts of animals that the kids can look at. If they can touch if they want to, they can hold them. Mom and Dad can take pictures of them with the snake around their shoulders and that type of thing.
And you don't have to register for any of that.
And you don't have to register
so-
for that, and there's no fee. That is
Yeah.
absolutely free.
So if you do just kind of looking for something to do, don't feel like, that you have to pre-register for everything, because
No.
just show up and take advantage
If
of
you're interested in native plants, that'll be at the Du Bois Conference Center also. There's a group, a nursery there that deals in nothing but native plants.
And they're going to have a plant sale too, is that
And then
correct?
yes.
Okay.
You can buy it and take it home and plant it.
Okay, and we will mention, I'm going to let you tell me real quick for the audience, I had to look this up one time. What is a trillium that the event is named for?
A trillium is a spring woodland wildflower. Everything is in threes. That's where it gets the name trillium.
Okay,
It's 3 leaves. Has 3 petals on the flower. Everything is in threes. Comes in a variety of colors, both of the flower and the leaf. The leaves can go from shiny green to dull green to spotted, speckled green.
Well,
And they only come out in the spring. They will stay out until the leaves start coming out. Once the sun no longer reaches the floor of the forest,
they're gone at
they
that
they
point.
disappear back into the ground.
Well, they are
A
beautiful.
lot of the spring wildflowers do that.
Okay.
They have to come out, they burst forth in the spring, and then they have to go underground.
Too much shade at that point
Too much
for
shade,
them, yes.
correct.
Well, I am so excited about this. I wish you all the best of luck in your fundraising efforts, and we'll encourage our audience to go up there. This is such a wonderful event. If you can't make it this weekend of the 12th, 13th, and 14th, you can go take advantage of the park up there at any point. Just a wonderful, wonderful resource that we have just in our backyards. And that's a wrap for this week's show. I want to thank Mr. Rob for being here with us, and I hope you'll come back again to hear more about the great things going on in your community. Thank you for joining us on Table Talk.